Most content creators, most platforms, most policy institutes, most organizations are completely controlled opposition and do nothing to actually benefit you. They do nothing to address the problems that you face, the things that are most important to you in your future, your children's future. And people don't need to be perfect to work with them, right? You don't need a purity spiral in every instance. You don't need to cut off everybody. I think that's a little delusional to expect that everybody will be perfectly aligned with you or that you can make all of this headway immediately. But you should hope that they truly have your values at heart. And most of these organizations, most of these content creators do not.
We know, and Aaron, we've spoken about this, like in behind closed doors, like so many Jews, right? We run Hollywood, we run the world, right? But like,
if you like this content, please consider following and hit the like button because I'm just starting my YouTube journey and I truly care about this. I have made my editing more efficient. That was really a huge time demand before, so I will be producing more content in the future. I'm sorry for the history of not producing as much as I should. Dennis Prager here of PragerU University, you might recognize this, the platform that basically created Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk for that matter, before the Daily Wire really existed, says to Jeremy Boring that they aren't America first, and they denounce Americans for being only loyal to America. Well, what does this say? Implying that you should have loyalty to other countries, right? Interestingly enough, he says that this is tribal loyalty that he doesn't subscribe to.
It's a tribal-based morality that I don't relate to.
Really? Dennis Prager doesn't have tribal loyalty? It's ridiculous. He's absolutely just lying to you. This gaslighting is unparalleled. He has tribalistic loyalty, just not to the United States of America. Now, when you see in these clips, Dennis Prager was hospitalized in late 2024 after a serious fall and a back injury. He is paralyzed. Now, I'm not trying to be too mean, but he is an ideological adversary. He opposes the best interests for you and me. I think that you shouldn't let the person's condition make you feel really too bad, especially when their lifetime of advocacy has been against you.
Every ism except Nazism was founded and or led disproportionately by Jews. You name it. Marxism, humanism, socialism, environmentalism, feminism, Jews. It's the Jews.
Dennis Prager says America has been the most blessed country in the world because of its support for Israel. Now, think about how absurd that statement is, because Israel has really only existed since 1948. After the Leahy, the Stern gang sent mail bombs to Henry Truman. We saw, and I've made videos on this, I will post them in the future on YouTube, their impact in Jewish lobbying organizations since the 1870s, but especially since the turn of the century, 1901 to 1909, their impact on William Howard Taft, Calvin Coolidge, and a variety of other presidents far before JFK, far before Henry Truman, far before FDR, far before what you understand.
In Genesis, I will bless those. Bless you, meaning the followers of Abraham, the seed of Abraham, and curse those who curse you. And I would remind them, America has been the most blessed country in the world. And it has also been the greatest supporter of Israel in the world. And I would always add, and should the day come that America stops support of Israel and the Jewish people, which is essentially the same thing, so too will America's fortunes.
America is only great because of Israel? That's absolutely asinine. Does that sound like a person who loves the United States of America? No, he says America will face its demise if they stop supporting Israel. He clearly doesn't believe America is great or capable of good on its own merit. The current CEO of Prager University and the host of Real Talk is Melissa Straight, who worked for Israeli military intelligence Unit 8200. Now, that is a deep dive well that I will have to do in the future. I once posted a video on Unit 8200 across Instagram and Facebook. It was the first and only video to ever be taken down on Meta on my behalf. Marissa Straight says you can't separate Jesus from Judaism.
Separating Jesus from Judaism and totalitarianism.
Despite Jesus rebuking the Jews, despite the apostles teaching that the Jews had one generation to convert or they would face exile, that they would be scattered amongst the nations and their nation would be destroyed. They didn't accept their Savior, and Jesus Christ is the author of the new covenant, and he is the pathway to heaven. So it doesn't make sense that you can't separate Jesus from Judaism. Modern Judaism, as you'll understand, is Talmudic teaching and teachings from the Zohar, so the 3rd to 6th century, and then 1500s onward. It has nothing to do with true historic Judaism or the fulfillment of the law, and especially has nothing to do with Jesus the Christ, who they claim is boiling in liquid feces for all of eternity in Gehenna, and they claim that his mother is actually a harlot who laid down with carpenters. She was descended from princes. They also believe that you, in your Christian soul, Moses ben Maimon instructs Jews to curse you daily, and that you, being a goy, that your soul is completely different from a halakhic soul, which has a piece of God, and that you are not even worthy or capable of doing good, and you cannot achieve religious enlightenment. Now, Dennis Prager said recently that Charlie Kirk called him once every week or 2 weeks for years and listened to 245 hours of Dennis Prager teaching on the Bible and the Torah. This is a Jew, a religious Jew and an ethnic Jew, teaching on biblical scripture and interpretation. Is that good? This story could be embellished, just like the letters from Netanyahu claiming that Charlie Kirk was the greatest supporter of Israel, despite internal texts between him and other podcasters and content creators where he's questioning Israeli influence and power. But this seems like an institution was guiding and controlling the greatest conservative leadership in America. Now, I say greatest because it's more influential. They're also creating success. What do we see when these people sell out? What do we see from Cam Higbee or other correspondents? Well, they get put on Fox News. Prager University and most conservative organizations since the beginning have been controlled opposition to get people to support Israel and limit their capability to understand, interpret, and support nationalist causes. What do you see when these people are exposed to identity politics or self-defense for true pro-white organizations or pro-America First organizations? Well, they melt down. They start applying leftist frameworks and critiques that they were taught by neoconservatives who hate them. Now, what do we see in other institutions? Not Prager University, not the Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh. The Heritage Foundation, the Claremont Institute, Prager University, of course, and the Daily Wire, and the John Birch Society historically have been really subverted, or they act contrary to what they profess as their interests. Even new alternative press, media, and businesses act contrary to the ideas and implications that they support. Passage Press, I Am 1776, the New Right Culture and Political Analysis brands, Compact, the Post-Liberal Journal, which is nationalistic and socialistic, the Free Press with Bari Weiss, of course, the Israeli-connected media outlets and intelligence, that's not a surprise. Exit System and Praxis, these city-states that are being supported by Peter Thiel and Palantir, but also major tech donors. Palestra, the education platform. Palladium, the government futurism outlet. Some of the biggest figures and authors on the right today, if you go on Twitter, but also Instagram and even TikTok, you can see that dozens of these people from social media and these people who find immediate success and just take off, they come out of nowhere and they take off. These people are controlled opposition. Now, I'm not saying that people genuinely come out of nowhere, but they didn't have the exposure that they had before. They're boosted by bot farms or by finance that helps support their endeavors. I mean, most people don't have the hours of time and the capability of script writing and editing hundreds of videos all on their own. I'm currently working completely alone. I don't have an editor. I don't have anybody writing my scripts for me. I don't have people helping me with my research. But sometimes when people on the left getting help from Arabella advisors up to $20,000 a month, or on the right getting other shadowy figures donating to them, they also get assistance. See, they're getting assistance with their script writing, with assembling their videos, people polishing their videos for them, adding B-roll and risers and background audio that keeps people entertained. When we see that these right-wing businesses and social media platforms and other culture enterprises are co-opted, funded by, or taken over by alternative interests, which steer the direction away from anything truly contrary to the existing system or status quo and back towards philo-Semitic, pro-Zionist, pro-system functionality, what does that say to you? That they're really just there to grift, to mislead you, maybe entertain you. They might educate you. They might advocate for some things that are truly important. They might continue to shift the goalposts. They might push the boundaries of the Overton window. But they're not on your side. Just like most cowardly people online who are incapable of questioning or opposing the post-1945 eschatology and world order, these people are either too ignorant or too pusillanimous to truly take a stance and found themselves on one real, clear political worldview. These organizations and almost every single platform for political change end up being dead in the water because of this. People are looking for something more authentic, something legitimate. That's why they love alternative media. That's why they love grassroots stuff. They love YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, maybe some podcasts, although I'm really questioning the podcasts element here, because they can't find it in legitimate organizations. And these people who make legitimate organizations are either too saturated or too large. They feel like their life is under threat, their lifestyle, and in their lifestyle, inflation is under threat if they were to lose these sources of income. Or maybe somebody would come to their house, some maniac from the internet would come to their house and threaten their freedom, their life, their way of life. People are looking for somebody to advocate for what they care about. and they're looking for something that is different from anything that's currently offered. Despite how desperately they want all of this, they can't find it. Now you're going to say it's infighting, that this prevents the greatest right-wing progress. If you're criticizing other right-wing organizations that are successful, don't you want to win? Well, is it truly winning if your win acts contrary to your interests and actually helps your enemies just as much as your enemies winning themselves? I'm not saying you need to purity spiral at every single opportunity and cut everybody off and be neurotic. I don't think that's really worth it. In most cases, infighting and purity spiraling, though, are simply arising because people understand, because they've been in politics long enough, how grifters and controlled opposition behave. People can be really effective at cultural change. Charlie Kirk was really effective at changing culture and enlightening people and bringing more information to people. Tucker Carlson was on Fox News and was talking about white replacement. These people can be effective without truly changing all the status quo, and they can develop over time. People can change what they're saying over time, whether they're moving along with the goalposts as culture changes because of tireless, devoted actors like you and me, or whether they're just truly changing because they actually believe it. It doesn't matter, because they're still bringing those words to their audience. But just because they say this to their audience doesn't mean they're actually trying to bring change that's most desperately needed for our political goals. People will snap back at me saying, you're expecting problems from the last 60 years to be resolved in 4 years. That's not true, nor am I relying on and looking up to politicians as the solution, nor am I saying that elections are the only and the primary solution. I'm really doubtful about elections, and I will have a video on that in the future. I am saying that media and culture institutions need to be capable of truly rivaling these problems, being honest about them, and addressing them, giving straightforward answers, and tell you exactly how we can remedy these things, change, create parallel institutions, or devote your money towards achieving some real and tangible victory. If we lie, if we sell out, if we cut corners, and you concede ground and you fold on what you believe, then what good is your belief anyhow? You are no better than any traitor. Basically, you're no better than your own enemy. But this is the thing that our enemies and other traitors don't understand. They have hundreds of non-governmental organizations receiving serious amounts of money in grants from the government. $5.18 trillion US dollars since 2001. They have think tanks, they have policy institutes, they have very educated people connected in academia and connected in Washington. They have these controlled opposition media outlets that are hanging on their every word and giving them more and more airtime, but they still can't beat your free speech in the Eighth Front War. They need to buy out every single media enterprise and shutter your exposure. They need to ban you. See, their system falls apart the second there's any real challenge. Your free speech is capable of destroying their narrative, because the truth is that tireless, devoted, educated rhetoricians, political actors can make more change by being authentic and determined, posting every single day, doing it for free, than all of these institutions can make by lying and misleading people, because they actually don't care about these people. They don't care about their interests or their future. It's apparent by the policy they push and the decisions that they make. The difference between me and between these establishment figures is that I believe in what I am saying, and then I love the people that I'm fighting for, because it's my future as well. It's my son's future. And so our children don't grow up to be a dispossessed and hated minority in a nation in decay. As our dollar loses more and more value, you have no access to a home or work opportunities. You see, they see you as a tool for their success, as disposable, as a meat puppet to throw away in a foreign war. That's why I'm so fervently opposed to these figures which mislead people, whether they claim to be on our side or whether they are truly already opposed to you. It does not matter. See, these people promote unhealthy behaviors. It doesn't matter if it's mentally unhealthy, it's diet, sleep, and exercise, it's your financial decisions, it's the decisions about your career, about your dating and your love life, or people who concede on the most important political issues that determine your future. You shouldn't be here to get something out of the movement. You should be here to be educated, to advocate, and to put something into the movement. You give it life service, not lip service. You've heard this many times, but most people who say this don't actually mean it.